Guys, we just got back from Color Out of Space. This is a film that somebody on Twitter let me know about. They said it's got fucking Lovecraftian. It's the producers of Mandy, and it's got Nicolas Cage, and it's cosmic horror. I was like, what the? How did I not know about this? I was like, this doesn't exist, and I fucking love Mandy. I own it. I watch it all the damn time. I try to get everybody I know to watch it. So I was very, very hyped for this film. And I couldn't find it anywhere. And I was like, oh, shit, it's an indie film. And it's hard to find, but luckily we found it playing at Alamo Drafthouse. We went to go see it tonight, even though we already did 2 movie reviews already. This is a 3rd movie review because I was so excited for this. Now, there's that risk of being disappointed. You know, usually indie horrors, I've seen a lot of them. They cannot be executed well. They can be executed all right, and they can be executed in the worst you've ever seen. And especially dealing with these concepts that are in Lovecraftian stories, you can fuck it up very easily. Now, considering all that, and this was directed by who?
Richard
Stanley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who did The Island of Dr. Moreau, got fired from that or something like that. And he hasn't directed a whole lot of stuff, but he's got his own unique style, and I think that comes across here. As you can tell, I'm glowing about the film, so I went to go see it. Was I disappointed? No, I fucking loved it. It was bold. It meant what the fuck. Oh, I already know it. I already know it, these guys, because in the car, they're already ganging up on me in the car.
Driving. I was kept to myself.
This is going to be a review where we're going to come to blows because I'm going to glow about the film. They're going to shit on it. So let me might as well. Let me get my stuff in first. So I thought this was trippy cosmic horror done right. Sure, it is schlocky, it's campy, it's fucking ridiculous, it's stupid. It reminds me of some of those trauma films, Joe, that you showed me, like that kind of weird, like kooky stuff, only taken more seriously here at times. I just think that, okay, yes, there are some pacing issues. There's no doubt. It sort of meanders a bit in the second act. But I think this is fully justified because it's like that's how these characters would likely react. This is how the shit would actually go down. If a meteor comes, I didn't even tell you what the film's about. It's about a meteor coming down from space in this isolated home with Nicolas Cage and his family. And he does a class, shit starts to go down. And as the film unfolds, it gets crazy as fuck. Okay. I'll just throw in The Thing. From Beyond. Annihilation. Okay, so you got some idea, right? Yeah. Well, it's likely how it would go down where it's like you don't know what to do. You don't know how to react. You don't know how to fight something that is so difficult to even understand, to comprehend. And that captures the essence in a big way of Lovecraftian stories. And it was just cosmic horror. Great. I fucking loved it. And the music was good. There was overacting and
yes.
in the right ways for me.
Good.
The camp bullshit was perfect. And I was willing to sort of give the film the benefit of the doubt for some, moments that didn't quite make sense because I was so enjoying the other films. And then I was like, $12 million budget. Well fucking done. And this is one of the better Lovecraftian stories, I think, in a decade or two. So, really, really well adapted. Go ahead and shit on it, guys, because I know it's coming.
I didn't think it was shit. I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, okay.
I don't hate it at all. Okay. My expectations really high because it's the team that brought us Mandy, and I was expecting that kind of trippy, satisfying story.
I don't think it was the team. I think it was the
producers of. So I was hoping for something that level of quality here.
Right.
And I just didn't feel like we got it. I think that the dialogue was strained and awkward. And when it comes down to it, this is a really, really short story that was stretched into 2 hours. And so there's gaps to fill, and sometimes they filled the gap really well, and sometimes they filled filled it really, really poorly. Sometimes the overacting was welcome and it was fine because they're losing their mind. It's a Lovecraft thing. And sometimes Nicolas Cage was doing an Ace Ventura impression of someone overacting as Nicolas Cage, and it was out of nowhere. There were people laughing in the theater. There was a part of the theater where it's supposed to be
but it's Nick Cage. He's doing his thing, man.
Yeah, but he was doing it. He was doing it so well, and it broke the tension because everyone in the theater was laughing, and it was not a point.
That was the point.
You're
going fucking crazy, and Nick knows how to go fucking crazy, Alex.
Yeah.
Just because you didn't like it, well, it's your opinion.
Yeah. So it broke any semblance of tension. Now there was some things I did like. I love the practical effects. It reminded me. Some of the parts reminded me.
CGI was.
Yeah, some of it was bad.
Come on, Joe. It's $12 million.
I'm willing to forgive some of it, right?
Maybe this is
fucking hell, guys.
There's times where they did something really competently and they showed us how well they could do certain things, and then in the very next scene they do it in a way that isn't very good. Yeah. And what they've done is they've established their bar, and then they drop below their own bar, and then they raise it again. Like there's some scenes in here that are like, man, this was really, really amazing. Like really good practical effects that I want to see more people doing in high budget movies. But then they did some stuff that's like, come on, this isn't very good, and the scene doesn't make any sense. So I like a lot of things about it, but there's a lot to not like here. So I don't know if this is for a lot of people.
It's your opinion. Just shut up. Don't say nothing. And Joe,
honestly, I'm the same boat. Like first act really had me, but then after that, it was just like we were talking about. They were just trying to figure out what to do.
But that's a part of it, Joe. What the fuck would you do if you were dealing with cosmic fucking horror?
The main character.
One example.
I'm not talking to you, Alex. I'm talking to Joe.
There's one example. We'll talk about in the spoilers. I was like, but you just did a complete 180 in 2 seconds. Like, come on.
One character repeated at least 15 times, we got to get out of here. And she said it over and over and over and over again. And
stuff like that.
And then she was even trying to get out of there. And then she's like, I don't want to get out of here. It's come on. This is Joe movie level of like garbage dialogue.
And then if she got out of there, then the film is over.
No, she can get out of there. You can do something with it where she escapes. But
you're gonna abandon your family. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Well, we'll talk about it in spoilers. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we can't talk about it much because of the spoilers. So what I will say here is I think the performances were great. They may disagree. They were over the top. They were campy. There was a craziness. The music is good. Mm-hmm. There's this. You could have called this film the sound out of space in addition to the color out of space because it was just like this annoying. It started to get annoying, but that's like part of it. It's like driving you insane, like a whistling that's constantly happening, coming from the well, coming from all around.
Well, smells too. They play with all the senses.
And the smells, like especially that one got Nicolas Cage's character quite a bit, and just some little interesting tidbits here and there that the film tries to add to the short story and tries to expand on it. The daughter character Lavina has an obsession with the occult, and then she's even caught a copy of H.P. Lovecraft's The Necronomicon, and she uses it, or it's kind of a part of her identity, a little teenage rebellion kind of stuff. And I thought this side thing was fascinating because I'm like, is this connected in any way to the other Lovecraftian story, the color out of space that we're watching, and does it have power and the way it interacts? And I think it does. Maybe it wasn't filmed in exactly the most straightforward way, but I think there's subtle hints that her subplot, Lavina's subplot, does factor in here in some way with that kind of occult stuff. But having to not do with the cosmic horror. So having gothic horror and having cosmic horror and trying to convey the color out of space, which literally it's not pink. I mean, it's pink, right? You see it's pink, but it's a color that you cannot comprehend. So, of course, we're human beings. We got to film the film. It's like fucking pink. It's blue. It's purple.
Which I was happy with.
I didn't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Right. It was fucking great.
It looked amazing.
I'm not saying y'all had a problem with it. I'm just talking about the great moments.
So
let's give it a final ratings then and actually quantify how far away we are from each other. So I am going to start. Very rare. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Okay. I fucking loved it. Yes, there are moments where I felt, oh, come on, do something. Why are we doing the same thing? We're walking over here slowly. We're going to reveal this thing. But, and then also it's like, what do we do? How do we get out of this? But I think that because the time and space, they mentioned it several times that time works differently, and then plus how do you react? You don't even know. Before you know what's going on, it's already upon you. And how would you react in this situation? And I thought that they reacted relatively realistically. My suspension of disbelief was not broken except for one part. So, and I'm grading this on a little bit of a curve, granted, okay? Because I love Nicolas Cage. I love Lovecraftian stories. I love sci-fi. And it's so rare that we get cosmic horror and have it done well, and the practical effects done well, and be on such a goddamn shoestring budget of like this. But this film has like the same budget of Doom Annihilation, and it fucking kicks ass. And you know, it's just 9 out of 10.
Go.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Don't piss me off.
All right.
Well,
so I had more issues. I think the suspension of disbelief was cut for me pretty probably half an hour in. What I wanted from this was like the slow drive, the descent into madness. And that's something that I really love about the Lovecraftian stories is there's this gradual build where you don't know what's happening. And I just felt that they were really wildly inconsistent with how the characters adapted to certain things. So there was like slow madness stuff at the very end of the movie where I wanted like really going off in the deep end. And there's some like kind of deep end stuff early on. I think that there was this real deep lull in the center of the film where you're just kind of unsure what's happening. The characters don't quite know, and we stayed there for so long. And the juicy bits are at the end of the film, and I wanted more of those juicy bits. Yeah. And then they teased it for so long that by the time that they came, maybe I was just so pulled out of the film that I didn't care. Tack on the awkward dialogue between a family that lives together, that talks together every single day, and you're like, I do not believe that any of you are related.
Yeah.
It looks like your actors have just met each other this week because your actors just met each other this week. And it's not. It may not be the actor's fault. It may be the material that they were given, the direction they were given. I don't know who's at fault, but it was a problem for me.
Okay.
So there were parts that I absolutely loved, and there were parts that I really didn't like. And what it kind of averages together for me is kind of an average film. I think if you love Lovecraft and you love horror, you want to see this. But I can see people hating this movie. I'm not one of them. There's parts that I don't like, but I'm giving this a 5.
You don't hate it. It's average.
Yeah.
See, mine's a little bit better. I would give it a 6. A 6 for
Oh
me.
my God.
Because honestly,
4
Nicolas
points
Cage
and
was
5
the best
points.
part of the family members. They didn't really do much. They just sat around kind of.
The oldest son had
whistling.
the oldest
Some
son
of
had
them, like,
nothing to
give
do
them
in this
purpose,
movie.
Give them something
What the fuck are
to
you
do.
gonna do against this?
Well, the whole thing is set up with those 4 family members. Make them do something instead of just wasting them.
The youngest son.
Oh, here
had
you
a-
go ganging up on me.
Well, we're not.
They
okay,
did
we'll look
do
at the
something
camera.
in my
we'll
opinion.
look at the
Go
camera.
ahead.
Well,
Keep going.
I'm just giving.
What are you going to
All right,
say,
so
Alex?
There's that. And like we were saying, third act just started meandering. They're like, all right, let's try to figure out.
Second act meandered.
Well, second
Third
act, they're like,
was-
let's try to figure out what we're going to do next. How about if we just do this and just do random stuff? Let's complete 180. He was like, all right, this person, let's have them change their mind.
Okay, so they're basically hammering on that pacing issue, and
Yeah.
that's where we disagree a lot, because I think that pacing issue was done on purpose, and I thought the meandering was a little purposeful, and I thought it all extended to this environment that was just like, constant, like a descent into madness. And but you want a money shot here. That's an $84 million movie, okay? But this is an indie horror, and you guys are grading it as if it's a fucking,
no.
if it's The Grudge remake, which is a $35 million movie.
Well, I mean,
that's okay.
well,
because you don't care how much the film money is in it, but I do. 'cause
I mean, if you want a
box
straw
office.
man, then that's fine.
So-
But that's not what we said at all.
All right. Well, go ahead. You did say that you had pacing issues, and that hurt the film more for you.
It doesn't have to
rather
be
than
money
it
shot. Like, one of the things that this film did really well is it played with sounds and color and filters, right? And it did none of that in the second act of the film. If they had done more where the characters are picking up on more creepy sounds, they're starting to see the world as they once knew it in different ways, and really emphasize that they are descending into something different. We see it as the audience, but we don't feel that the characters are seeing it. And so I don't need there to be a practical effect or a special effect effect. Just play with the sound, play with the characters, do something with the dialogue that shows me that it is getting worse as time goes by, and let me know that the characters are feeling what we are seeing on the screen. And I don't think they did any of that in the second act. I don't need explosions.
And I think the environment in front of their house just completely...
Well, now you're straw manning. I didn't say that you needed explosions, and I disagree.
Well, you said $84 million money shot.
Yeah, money shot, because you're like, I want to see more of the stuff that was at the end. That's fair, but you can't always have that if you're building up to a big reveal at the end. And there is a huge money shot in the film. You do get to see kind of more about what this is and where it's from and all this other stuff, which I completely didn't expect, especially on the shoestring budget. And you say that there's not a clear descent into madness and it meanders in the second act. I say I disagree. But obviously we're just going to go around in circles. We're going to fight each other and just... So I really like it, and you didn't like it as much for the same reasons why I liked it, and that's why we're just going to argue endlessly. So let's stop arguing. 9 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10, and I can already see the comments where it's like, well, where did we saw this coming? Alex hates the film. Joe likes it slightly more because he's influenced by Alex, and Joe just likes every fucking film. I see those comments all the time. Don't let it offend you.
Yeah, I mean,
don't let it offend you. Anyways, guys, here's the thing: is that we're just gonna call it like we see it. You know, these guys are going to give you their honest opinion. I'm obviously still excited about it. I would like to see it again. Maybe I will add it to my collection along with Mandy. So this is one of those films. Who do you trust?
It's a toss-up.
Who do you trust? Go see it. Put a comment down below. Tell me I'm an idiot and, I suck and these guys are right. Do it. All right, guys? If you want to talk spoilers with us, hopefully we don't kill each other in the spoiler section. So come join us for that.
There's nothing to spoil. It's like a 100-year-old story.
Yeah. Okay, guys. See you on the next Angry Joe show. If you don't want the spoilers, come join us right now.
Bye, guys.
Hey guys, it's the spoiler section. So it's not as good as Mandy, okay?
No.
And I just came home from it, and I might be coming down from my high right now.
Hey, you're not the only one. Erica gave it a 9.
Okay, all right.
I asked her honestly.
She gave it a 10 initially, but then she was really excited, and she gave it a 9. So I do think that, it could be 8, 9, and I just don't know how you guys lost so many points and lost you, and I'm like, what did the film do? And you told me exactly what it did. Okay, so here's the thing. A glowing meteor comes down, but in my interpretation, it's not only the meteor, but it's like an astral color that
stuff.
Yeah, eventually life forms do start to come out of the rock, Joe. But what I'm saying is not only did the asteroid hit and affect the spot, but there's a beam of light that sort of engulfs the house. And, of course, it's pink, but it could be a color that we can't comprehend. But it's nicely done with pink and with kaleidoscope. And it's bright, and it's like, whoa.
It's awesome. It was they set it up really well.
I thought that I agree. I think we all agree that it was set up nicely. The family had some great, genuine moments. The way their dialogue was genuine. But then I will say that there was a time where it's like, wait a minute, why are they talking to each other like they just met? I think we lost something in editing. I think it's normally they don't eat together, and this was like a family eating night. And that's where some of the awkward talking came from. So I think it can be explained, but maybe it was on the cutting room floor. But anyways, so this meteor hits. And right away, you're starting to see something's not right. This is way different than just a simple meteor. The way it's filmed, the way the audio is, right away, you've got sound, you've got smell. They react. Nicolas Cage character, what does that smell? And
he's the only one that can smell it, yeah.
He smells it all throughout the film, and it drives him mad, essentially. And the kid is most affected by it in the sense that it starts whispering to him, and he starts talking, and he starts whistling because it's whistling back, and he says, my friend is in the well, and we're friends now, because this thing is basically speaking to him. And it's already popping up these plants, and it's starting to grow, and it's starting to change things. And Tommy Chong's Tommy Chong's character is in this. I expected him to be treated a little bit more like a joke character, more jokes, but they treated him pretty well. He's this kind of
grid, man.
kooky guy off the grid, and he sort of explains it, and he's got some great scenes that explain kind of more what's going on for the audience to try to comprehend. And as this thing goes on, there's nothing you could do, man. This family had no fucking way to combat this. Like a ghost, you can hire an exorcist. With a fucking, you can fucking, I guess you could leave, but you might already be infected.
Yeah, see, they don't know what to combat, and so one of the themes of the movie is there's the main character, the narrator, is a hydrologist. He's there to test the water table, and he says over and over and over, "It's the water. Don't drink the water." And so whether or not it's erroneous, right? Because anytime you touch the thing, it does some other things too. But the infection follows the rules for everybody but him. And so there are times where a character drinks the water, they get really sick, someone sees the light, they get a headache. But this guy has all of the things. He drinks the water, we see him drink the water. He's playing in the plants, he's touching blood of things that happen.
He doesn't drink the water, he never drinks the water.
Yeah, he doesn't. In Tommy Chong's thing, he has some, and he's like, oh, it probably just rust, but he tastes some. And so...
Why would at the end of the film he says, I will never drink that water? Okay, well,
because now that he knows
inconsistency.
So there's some problems where it's like, had they just said like, we're gonna make it about the water table and the water's influencing everything around, or we're gonna say like, these are the rules. Like these horror films usually stick with some sort of rule, like don't fall asleep, Freddy will kill you.
Back.
Don't do any of these things. And this one just kind of like selectively chose when it's gonna follow the rules. Like Nicolas Cage is eating like pink fruit, and you're like, oh, he's gonna go nuts. Nope, he only just gets a little bit of a rash, and he gets that from the shower.
Yeah.
So I wanted more consistency with how things were going to happen.
Well, in the shower, he finds this little blob.
Oh, yeah, it was disgusting.
That was really great scene. Fantastic scene. I mean, I disagree with what Alex just said, because you said that the rules are basically that there's water that infects him, but that doesn't follow its own rules because the guy, the waterologist, drank the water.
He drank the water. He played with the plants.
I think it's everything. And your point still stands because he went through everything.
Literally everything,
with the family. I don't have an explanation for this narrator guy. But in my opinion, it was everything. It was the water. It was the air.
I agree with you.
The
light,
the mind melding, and just the presence of it. And that is Lovecraftian. So I guess they did kind of fuck it up, at least with the narrator. But maybe this is a weakness from the short story. I don't know if the short story is like, well, we need a narrator, and he survives, and then he warns other people, hey, there's other types of stuff. But I just thought it was well done. So my suspension of disbelief wasn't quite as broken as yours. I did wonder why the fuck would just leave this goddamn house, but it might have just been that, there's a little bit of the family element. You don't want to leave your family behind, and the last thing you're thinking about is fucking cosmic horror, Cthulhuian creatures and shit. You're not thinking any of that, so they're not exactly like, oh, well, there's a ghost in the house, we need to leave.
The daughter was packing up. She was about to leave.
Well, she didn't experience any of the madness, is what I wanted to see. Like I wanted her to go through some madness.
Well, she did. She started fucking cutting herself.
Well, yeah, that didn't seem out of character for her though.
That's why I think the subplot. And I think that's explained too. So some of the reasons why I feel was explained. So what it was for me is that she was doing her witchcraft or Lovecraftian kind of stuff. She's got a Necronomicon. This is within his lore. He's trying to say that Necronomicon does have a little bit of power, and she's able to protect herself for a little bit. And in my opinion, I'm going deep into the film.
That's deep because she immediately gets attacked after cutting herself open. Like her protection lasts, 30 seconds?
Yeah, no, she does succumb to it, but, she makes a deal, in my opinion, with that final scene. I'm probably reading into it too much, but hey, it's open for interpretation, what happens at the end. So essentially, this thing gets crazier and crazier. So what happens is that the alpacas, we got this alpaca sub-story of, he's got to feed the alpacas. It's going to be the next type of the next great gold mine
Super animal, yeah.
Super animal, these alpacas. It was funny, but they get all fused together and shit, and they find it in the fucking barn, and they find like a little fucking creature, like this fucking praying mantis that seems to have sentience almost, and leaves the kid alone, doesn't attack him or anything, and you got the forest, and then finally, it's the well, which is growing something in the well, and it has sort of these glowing tentacle arms. The tree closest to the well, the branches start to undulate and move like tentacles. And basically, if you disturb this thing, or it gets mad at you, or, it's just infecting things, or it senses your presence, it's going to increase its light and come after you. And the first time it really does this, or at least to our main characters,
it fuses the mother and the son.
Yeah.
It hits the mother and the son, and it was like, shit, it could have hit anybody. And I felt that. I was like, wow, this really happened, kind of thing. Because it could have been the son, it could have been the older brother, or Nicolas Cage, but no, they just managed to get fused together. It's nasty, it's grody. They show, the son is almost like went through her chest and almost out the back. And there's just the gurgling sounds. That might have been a little too excessive. They were just gurgle.
Yeah, I think they did a wonderful job with the scenes.
It's horrifying.
They did show of the two of them fused together and the noises they made.
It put them out of their misery.
Yeah.
And they kind of do imply, okay, I'm going to do that. So, Nicolas Cage is like, at this point, he's fucking losing it too, because he's gone through several things, and he's like, I'm not letting this get my family. But he has no recourse, and that's what I like about the movie. So instead, he goes and he shoots all the alpacas, and I guess he gets the idea at that point to shoot, his wife and his son, and puts it to her face, and then he decides, no, I can't do it.
Well, he goes Ace Ventura again, because he has
kiss. Because it's affecting, they're going in and out of fucking sanity, Alex.
So the way that Nicolas Cage lets you know that he's going crazy is he does an Ace Ventura impression. He gets real wacky with his daughter.
But I didn't enjoy it.
And it's really funny. Look, it is funny. And everyone in the theater was laughing about it.
He tries to leave the house, and he hits his car. And
calls his car a cocksucker.
Cocksucking car.
Yeah.
And
he eats a peach, but not for hours.
Yeah.
So it hits them, and he takes, and they lift him. It's just a painful scene. It's like disgusting. They take this fused family member up to the attic, and they don't know what to do. And the hospital's an hour away. Why don't they get it? Well, they can't go anywhere in the hospital. At one point, they even try to escape via the horse, but the horse is infected and runs off. And like, okay, we're gonna fucking walk through this forest when all these dangerous creatures.
If they would have got the saddle on, they would have taken off.
Yeah.
So he goes to shoot her, doesn't shoot her, kiss her, gets all the mucus on, and he's fucked anyway.
He's nuts.
So he's nuts. So he's turning into his father. He's drinking a lot, watching the movies his father likes to watch and stuff, and downstairs. And at this point, the cop shows up back with the waterologist, who basically had noticed that there's something wrong with the water, and they're not responding. Let's go back over there. And they notice he looks fucking crazy. He's bleeding. He's got blood on him, and he's like, ugh, and he's acting erratically. And so obviously they enter the house.
He's got, like,
where's your wife? What's going on?
Scales, or I don't know what it was.
Yeah, rash.
Not probably from being in the shower with that white mucus that was piling up at the sink, and he picks it up. And then it like fucking grows tentacles.
Latches him.
Like,
that scene was really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Over. That's probably one of the best scenes in the film. Anyways, he's Nicolas Cage. My family's all right here. What are you talking about?
Except for Benny. Benny lives in the well now.
And they're like, what
and
the
then they
fuck
freak
are
out.
you talking about? Because that's not Benny isn't even in your family, and there's nobody sitting on the couch. Then they hear noises upstairs, and previously he had grabbed his daughter to feed to his wife, because I guess it was implied that the son was being absorbed into the wife's body or reabsorbed, and I don't know, that's her nutrients or whatever. I don't know where we skip a scene where it turns from she needs food or
into
something.
she becomes a full-on monster.
Before she couldn't even move or anything. They had to carry her upstairs, and then next
a
scene,
Cthulhuan
she's like
monster.
That
was another great
creepy.
scene where he locks his daughter in there, and she's like, we got to do this as a family, and
go feed your mom.
Go feed your mom. And maybe he's not literally saying feed yourself to your mom.
There's no food in there. He's feeding.
Go feed your mom. That's it.
And this creature, multiple fucking spider-like, Cthulhu-like creature she turns into. Well, it was even creepier is when her head is just like, on the little blanket and on that little bed, just laying there,
shit.
not really moving. And then it kind of, but then it gets up, and you're like, oh, fuck. That shit was nice. And I don't know what it's doing to the daughter. It's either gonna like
it just spits on her for 30 minutes because the plot was
maybe try to absorb her. Maybe the mother's still in there fighting back. But as this is happening, the cops are in the house. They break into the door. They're like, what the fuck? And shit is crazy. And then she ends up getting exploded by a shotgun blast. I thought it was the cop.
No,
it wasn't the cop. It was Nicolas Cage. See how he's coming in and out of consciousness, guys? You know.
No, I see it.
All right. Well, it just wasn't executed in your opinion well, but I thought it was.
No, I think this act is fine.
Okay. It was the second act that y'all didn't like. Okay. So he kills it, and, you know.
He shoots both mom and son.
Here's the part I don't get. After that scene, the narrator picks up the girl, starts going outside, and then I guess Nicolas Cage was going to shoot the well or something? Or was
it did look. They didn't set that up nicely enough because the camera has a specific angle. Joe.
Yeah,
it looks like
I see the thing coming out. It's going to get somebody,
There's
but then it goes back.
coming out from the well, the tentacles as they're running off.
I was like, why did it go back?
Huh?
Why did it retreat?
Why wasn't it not there?
Yeah.
Why did the
purple,
tentacles
yeah,
back?
The tentacle comes out of the well.
You see it,
and then it retracts
he's running
for no
out.
reason.
It's like, oh no, and then it retracts.
Well, I don't know if it retracts. Just when the camera went to the next scene, it just wasn't there. I just thought that this was all like craziness.
Back. I guess the sheriff shot Nicolas Cage
because he thought he was going to shoot his
daughter.
daughter.
And then the thing goes back. I was like, was there a connection with that? They didn't. Really,
loud noises. He was scared of loud noises.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with that. So I was like kind of confused.
Yeah, but I think they did kind of a fake out, maybe unintentionally, because I think it was shot kind of poorly. Because it looked,
Nicolas Cage does look like he's cognizant right now. He's shot. Then he's gonna shoot this damn tentacles and save the rest of his family. But then he gets shot in the back, and the film doesn't make it. I think it's just left to be ambiguous. It's that he was gonna shoot the tentacles, not the kid who's saving his daughter. And the cop just shoots him, and that's why she's like, "My God, you shot my dad!" And no, I don't want to go with y'all. This is my home, and it's intentional like that to give the daughter motivation to stay with her dying dad. And then they're like, "Well, fuck this. Let's get the hermit out there, and let's leave, and I'll be back for you." He says because he likes her. He's got a crush on her. Doesn't want to see her die. They go out there and find him. Great scene. I
love
so many great
the effects they
this.
do on him, right? So what they did with Tommy Chong, I wish they'd done more of throughout. You don't know how he died. He looks like he's a husk of a person. It looks like he's burned from the inside out, and there's just like this layer of like ash-type skin on him. And there's this really creepy effect of him. He's talking in a tape recorder, and he's like, no, they came from outer space. They're here to replace us. They get in through the ground. And most of the stuff he's saying is wrong because he's just a crazy hippie. But he's reciting this stuff.
I think all that stuff is correct.
He said that there was people living underground and stuff. Like, I didn't
say people. He said they're underground. They are these creatures, this stuff.
Okay. Well, they have this scene, and I wish they'd done more of that because that is a really creepy scene where we don't know how he got burned out from the inside. The tape is playing slowly. The music is done really well, and you show me that you like
and
how
he starts glowing a little bit.
Yeah, he glows a little bit, and then he explodes into purple, and it's like do more of that type of stuff.
Okay, and so they go from there, and he goes back to the main house, and he finds the girl standing in front of the well, kind of looking up, and then the well creates this sort of portal, and the camera looks up, and there's like a portal maybe from that dimension or that area of space to Earth in this specific area, and she talks with him, or he's like, pleading with her or something. And I forget the specific line and the way that they were talking, but the way I interpreted it is like, she is going to end this, kind of thing. And she either through the Necronomicon that she was asking for power to, get her out of here, and then it teleports her or transports her or kind of blows her away, and then
she explodes.
All this stuff gets taken away. And it basically ends the outbreak, and it just is in this massive crescendo, and the sounds get louder, blows up into white light, the color of out of space, and I fucking loved it. And then it goes to like white ash everywhere.
No, well, there's actually, because the infection keeps spreading. Nicolas Cage isn't dead; he's actually inside, and so the hydrologist, after she explodes and there's the funnel into the other dimension, he walks inside the house, sees Nicolas Cage in there. He's like sitting down, and then they have a big fight. They throw each other all over the house, and then he hides in the basement in the wine cellar, and then that's when there's a huge explosion, and everybody dies but him, and he's fine in the basement, and he crawls out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but okay, we got that. I got that mixed up, and so then the portal is gone and everything. The infection is gone, which is what I was saying, that she teleported away or made all this stuff go away, or maybe it was just the creature or whatever returned to its place. I think it has to do with the Necronomicon and stuff. That the subplot with the girl. And then he just goes to narration, and he was like, "This is why I will never drink this water."
But we see that there's still like bugs, the infected bugs flying around at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. So part 2.
Yeah, we're gonna get another one.
No, we're not getting another one, guys. It's just a self-contained fucking story.
It's not
contained. For 12 million. But that's the open-endedness of a fucking story, All right. Anyways, that's it. This has gone way too fucking long. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next Angry Joe show. Go see it. See if you like. See if you can find it. Number 1, and see if you like it, and check it out.
Yeah,
well, if you're here, you've already seen it. Maybe. Yeah. All right, guys. See you on the next Angry Joe show. Bye. Get out of here.